As mentioned earlier, due diligence is a critical part of any collaboration or merger transaction. However, all transactions are different, as are all organisations, and therefore we're not here to give you specific advice about your organisation and the due diligence activities you should undertake. Rather, what we want to do is introduce due diligence to you, talk about the vocabulary, and make sure that you understand the key things that might impact the due diligence process for a transaction that you're thinking about. As such, this component does not replace any advice that an accountant, a lawyer, or other professional might provide you. As mentioned earlier, due diligence is a key aspect of all collaboration and merger transactions. It is complex and will vary from transaction to transaction and from organisation to organisation. Therefore, we can't give you advice here that you can rely on to make decisions. You definitely need to contact professionals such as lawyers, accountants, HR specialists, and others that may help you. In this section, we're just going to explain the term and process of due diligence in a bit more detail so you know what it entails and are comfortable with the process. For those in the legal and accounting firms that provide this advice, this is business as usual. They do this every day. There are also those NFP organisations that undertake several transactions a year for whom this process is also business as usual. Like many things, the first time you get involved, it can look daunting, but it becomes simpler with practice and there is a lot of help around if you need it. Our main advice to you here is to get advice. Not just the first few times, but each time you undertake a collaboration or other transaction that could or will have a material impact on the organisation. It is very difficult to be objective, and even the professional advisors can become influenced by biases. As mentioned, due diligence is essentially the investigation you must undertake prior to making a decision. This raises the question of why we don't just call it investigation or something more descriptive. The term due diligence is instead the description of obligations or responsibilities of directors and officers towards the organisation. For legal reasons, we're not going into the definition of due diligence, but will instead direct you to the Corporations Act 2001 and the description it holds there. So what sorts of investigations are needed prior to deciding on collaboration, mergers or other activities? There are many books available as well as free publications by law firms and accountants that outline the key steps in undertaking due diligence and the areas of operations that should be investigated. Mostly, these lay out the same step-by-step approach, and we've provided some references in the study guide. For now, we're going to discuss the areas you're likely to see in the books and other publications.